Alright, so real quick, who would say that they think of chocolate as a dietary supplement? Okay, as a healthy dietary supplement. Okay, so usually we think about chocolate and we think about things that we need to stay away from during a diet, although half of us here don't think that way, which is kind of great. And the three types of chocolate that we have are white chocolate, milk chocolate, and dark chocolate. And there are other types in between that we can use for baking that don't really taste as good because there's no sugar and milk in there. But what makes chocolate a healthier type treat is that there are flavonoids in there which go after free radicals in our body, which help the bad stuff age our cells. So with it going after that, yes.
Oh, no, I'm just giving you 1 minute.
Oh, thank you. So with that, we have other things such as blueberries, red wine also have these flavonoids in there. But chocolate actually has been shown to have more of the better type of flavonoids and phytochemicals than blueberries and red wine. And so having it as a dark chocolate form has more of these because there's more cocoa solids in the actual product at the end. So we have white chocolate, which is actually not really chocolate. It's classified as such because there's cocoa butter, which is a byproduct of what you get during the processing of cocoa beans. And then to look at the different percentages, you kind of want to go for a higher percentage, gives us a healthier treat. Typically, but you also have to look at the fat content because they go by cocoa butter as well as the cocoa solids such as the cocoa nibs and cocoa powder, which give it the darker color, as to the percentage that we get. So sometimes a 70% bar might actually only be 35 and 35, but there are some that are 70% that might be 50% cocoa solids rather than cocoa butter at 20%, so it's a healthier mix. As far as milk chocolate goes, that one will only ever truly be 20% or less cocoa solids, and so that's why even though you're getting more of the flavonoids and the healthier stuff from the chocolate, from the plant base, you're still not getting as much as you could, and there's more sugar to make up what's left out. And so all of this kind of leads into our training elsewhere, where we learn that the higher cocoa butter content, the easier it is for chocolate to melt, which means that it's easier to temper and use for the insides of things such as truffles. So a white chocolate is typically better from a health perspective as just a drizzle or as a color additive to give us spots of color throughout our presentations or our desserts. Milk chocolate, same kind of thing, drizzle. It can be colored a little bit if you're looking for a deeper color rather than a really bright color, but also really great for the insides because, again, they still have a little bit of those health benefits. But it tastes better usually than the dark chocolate, which tends to come off a little bit more as bitter. But the production cycle affects that as well. Where the bean comes from, how it's roasted, how it's grown, and what all goes into it affects the flavor. So a really dark chocolate can also be really sweet or spicy. And then dark chocolate is best for coating because it has so much less fat content, it's not going to melt as easily. So it's best for our truffle coatings. And so that is the basis of chocolate, the three types, the best ways to use them, and the healthiest one, of course, being dark chocolate. So now we can open the floor to questions. On best use or any other health benefits of chocolate. There are many.
Question.
Yes.
Is the Mexican chocolate spicier?
It can be. Their production process usually is thought of as spicier because of what they add into it after. They tend to add a lot of pepper type spices, cayenne, and they also add cinnamon and whatnot. So it comes off as spicy, but if you had a strictly bean to bar product, I'm not sure on that region, but it wouldn't be quite as noticeable as a final product. Yes.
In your study of chocolate, if you can answer this on an international basis, what country or countries consume more chocolate, say, than on a percentage basis than the United States?
That is a great question. I will have more on that next time, but from what I do recall, Sweden is definitely the top. They consume, I want to say double if not triple what Americans consume on a yearly basis.
Wow.
Well, in tandem with that, and a follow-up question, is there a particular state in the Union or a province of Canada, as an example, to include all of North America that way, that sort of has that record for the greater consumption of chocolate? And I use that in view of the fact that, as an example, in Alaska, allegedly we consume more ice cream, beer, and Spam than at least 47 of the other states.
Yeah,
I was going to say, not
I've
Hawaii.
heard that as well. But I'm not sure on the chocolate side of it. I do know that the type of chocolate seems the more unhealthier versions, the milk chocolate to the white chocolate, is more consumed in the southern and southeastern.
You don't need permission.
And I think a part of that has to do more
In the bathroom, Dana.
so many people getting into the more natural side of things and the bean to bar aspect where they get the flavor from the actual cocoa bean. A lot of the processes that are used now are so clean that what you taste in the bar, whether it be spicy, fruity, or nutty, is actually based on where they got the bean, and they go single origin rather than mixing a bunch of stuff and then adding a bunch of other additives and preservatives that get us a lot of what we have on the grocery store shelves that maybe come off. I mean, they taste like chocolate, but they don't really have another taste unless it's marketed that way. We have our plain chocolate bars, and then there's the spicy ones, and the cinnamon, and the vanilla, and stuff like that. And then you have special order almost is where I think it began, but now a lot more people are moving into these small batch bars, and they're using beans just all entirely from one location, so you can really get the spiciness from different areas that they get it from.
I'd like to have a couple of questions about state, just to follow up a little bit on that state use. And one of them is, I know it sounds a little bit ridiculous, but maybe. In some states in the South, they deep fry everything. Can you kind of deep fry chocolate products?
You can. I've actually looked into deep frying candy bars and other such things, and they even have to be frozen before you did anything like that. That way it didn't melt right away and disintegrate into nothingness. But you can definitely do that. I've seen it done.
I was thinking, it's not just every day is Halloween, but in some respects, there's a lot of consumption, heavy consumption of chocolate. That's my theory. Do you have any sort of point of reference to?
I think in different areas, it's more widespread and daily. I think, especially as people start to learn of the health benefits of dark chocolate specifically, that it'll be a more, almost like a daily vitamin, almost kind of thing. Like everybody has their daily dose of fruits, daily dose of maybe daily glass of red wine, and they might sub this in, and that's kind of like a give and take relationship, especially since it's chocolate. The fillers that are there are sugar and dairy, and so even though there are health benefits to consuming dark chocolate, 1 to 2 on a daily basis is what's kind of recommended. Putting that into our daily caloric intake so that when we consume that extra chocolate on a daily basis, it's not increasing to our waist sizes. It's doing what it's supposed to do. So if we factor in an ounce or two of dark chocolate on a daily basis, maybe instead of adding creamer to our coffee, we don't. Or maybe go for an extra walk around lunchtime. Any questions?
He covered all mine.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for being here.